today's class we'll be going to methods and method overloading and overriding. Okay, these are the concepts that you actually deal in OOP programming, that is object oriented programming. So we'll just see how those OOP concepts are actually integrated, are used in Java. A method takes some parameters, performs some computations, and then optionally returns a value. So whenever you want to create a functionality, okay, Mayank sends me a sad smiley. Now whenever you have to make a functionality, like for addition, you want to make a function for addition, you want to make a function for subtraction or any other thing. If you want to provide a particular functionality, you can make a method. This way you'll be modularizing your application. Okay, you'll be making a different method for that, and by making a method you can call that particular method at many places. This way you'll be reducing the redundant code. Okay, you'll be reusing the code. Now we'll see what are the things that are present in a method. Methods have got 5 components. One is modifiers. We'll be discussing about modifiers in the later part of the class. Modifiers are like public, private, protected, and there is a default one. Whenever you miss writing any one of them, then in those cases it will be taking the default one. Now we come to return type. A method can return a value. It could be an integer value, it could be a string value, it could be a character, it could be float, or it could return nothing. If you are not returning anything, you'll be mentioning void in place of the return type. That means this method will not return anything. Amir says, is there any difference between methods and functions? Now you would have also heard of procedure. Okay, methods is a general name. There are two kinds. Methods is actually divided into procedure and functions. Procedure is the name given for a method which is not returning anything, which has a void return type. In that case, the method is called procedure. If a method is returning a value, whether integer or any value, in those cases, that method is termed as functions. Okay, but they'll always remain a method. It is just a definition. It is the theory part, that is a method returns anything, it is a function. If it does not return anything, it is a procedure. Are you clear, Amir? Please write down on the chat window. Okay, good. Now I was on return type. So I guess you have understood return type, that is it can return a value or it cannot. If it is not returning any value, in those cases you'll be mentioning void. We come to method name, the third one. Method name is actually the identifier of a method. Using the name of the method, we can use that particular method. Okay, so it is the identifier of the method, the method name. Third thing is the list of arguments, or you can call the parameter list. Now it contains different arguments. That is, if a method needs certain values on which it has to do the computation, in those cases you actually take values right here. Example, if you're adding two numbers, the method is adding two numbers, then it will require two numbers with as the parameter. So you'll pass integer a comma integer b as the parameter, and those values will be used in body of the method. Now we come to the part that is body. In the body you'll be providing the definition of the operation. Okay, that has to be performed. That means you can say that functionality of this particular method will be present in the body of the method, that will be enclosed between the curly braces. Okay, so these are the components. Okay, before going to method overloading, let's see how to create methods. So in this class itself, that is test 1 and test 2. In test 1, I'll create a method. Okay, so a simple method, integer, first of all void. That is void, it is not returning anything, add, and it is not taking anything. Okay, in this integer a and integer b, all of you, can you answer this question? Do you know what are constructors? Please write down on the chat window. Everyone, yes, we went through in the last class, so I'll be using a constructor here. I just thought of using it, so I was just confirming whether you are aware of constructors or not. So instead of defining these two values here, I'll define it outside right here. Int a, and I'll call the constructor of this class public test1. Okay, in this I'll initialize the value of a equal to, and this constructor will take two values. Okay, now this constructor is not actually a method. Okay, it is not a method. Never confuse with a method with a constructor. A constructor will always have a name that is equivalent to the class name, and it will not have any return type. It won't return anything. Okay, Arun, I guess your question has been answered. Now I'll assign a value a to a and a value, instead of a you'll get confused, I'll mention it x and y. X equals to a and y equals to b. Okay, and in the add function I'll simply I'll print system.out.println. I'll print a plus b. Okay, it is showing me an error. Oh, sorry, x and y. I'll simply print x and y. In that I'll also mention a text that will be the sum is, okay, and I'll add a plus sign between them. Now I'm not passing any parameter to this function. Science says and constructor is called as soon as an object is created for the class. Exactly. Yes, Ashraf, thank you for correcting me. Now I'm not taking any parameter in this function. I'm not returning anything. It has a functionality that will print the numbers. Now in test2 class, I'll remove all these things, and here I'll create an object of test1 class. So I'll test1 ob equals to new test1. I'll use this one constructor, that is test1. In this I'll pass two values, let's say 5 and b, second value is also 5, and I put a semicolon. Save the file. Now if I run the code, will I receive anything right now if I run the code? Anyone of you tell me. Sai says 10. Amir says no. Exactly correct, Amir, because I haven't called the function. So I'll write ob dot. Now I'm showing you how to use a function with an object. So I'll write ob dot. Ashraf says sum 55. Okay. Ob dot function add. I put a semicolon. Now it will call the function that is present in test1 class, that is add, and I'll run the code. I receive the value, that is sum is 10. The spelling is wrong. Okay, the sum is 10. So we haven't passed any parameter right here to the function. We only use the constructor to give the values, and using that I'm printing this statement, I'm running this function. So all of you are clear with this. Sai says yeah, it does not print but the value is stored. Exactly, Sai. And Ashraf, are you clear why it is not printing 55? It is actually adding. These were numbers, these are variables, and you just used a plus sign. If you place them in quotes, then in those case it will print 55. Ashraf says yes sir, that's good. Now we'll make some changes. This time, instead of using the constructor, I'll just comment this part and I'll take some parameters in it, integer a comma integer b. Okay, This time I'll print A and B. Okay, I'll show you step by step different things. So this will take values A and B. I come here, I'll just remove these two values, and in this I'll pass 100 and 100 comma 200. So we are passing two values in the method now. So this method is taking parameters, two integer values as parameters, and it is returning the sum. It is printing the sum. It is not returning, it is just printing the sum there itself. So I'll just run this code. The sum is 300. So are you clear with this part as well, all of you? Be quick and I'll then show you one more thing. Mohsin says how to break out or exit a method. It will automatically exit it. Okay, as soon as the functionality is over, the operation is over, it will exit. Mohsin. Now, instead of printing here itself, what I'll do, I'll return the value. So I'll just put the return statement, but before that I have to mention that what value will be returning. It will be returning an integer value. So I'll use the return keyword and I'll pass the value A plus B, and I put a semicolon. So it will return the sum, or you can define another variable and you can write A plus B equals to that like this, integer C equals to A plus B, and put a semicolon, and finally you can return C over here. Okay, this is one way, but why to add one more line? Okay, I'll just cut it. I'll paste it right here. This is one another way. Saving it. I come here. I'm passing two values. Now what I'll do, I can do one more thing here. Int C equals to 0. Now this object will be returning a value. The value will be saved in C. So I'll write system.out.println. I'll simply print C. I'm not printing any statement this time. Run the code. I'm receiving the result 300. Are you clear with this? Now the function is returning a value and you're again coming back to this main method, and the value was stored to the C variable and we printed it. Okay. Instead of making this line as well, what you can do, you can simply cut it, paste it over here. Okay, it is showing me an error. Let's see what it is. Type mismatch. Cannot convert void to int. ob.add. Okay, we'll have to use it like that itself. Now, I come to test1 Java class again. It is returning a value, it is taking parameters. Now, is there anything that could be done with a method? If we don't mention the return type, will it still run? Amir says. ob.add is an instance method, Mayank says. Yes, it will be an instance method, exactly, Mayank. Now, if we don't mention the return type, will it still run? I didn't get your point, Amir. Sai says no, it won't run. He's quite sure. I think you are saying that if I don't mention, we'll have to mention it. If you do not mention it, it will give you an error. Either remove this return keyword or mention a return type. Amir says okay. This way you can return any other value as well. Like if you want to return a float value, you can do that. But right now it will, okay, first I'll run this code for you. Now since it is returning a float value, you'll have to save it in a float variable itself. Run as 300.0. Since we converted it into float, it is showing 300.0. Now I changed this as well to float. float. Here itself I'll change it to float. float. Okay. Now I'll pass 100.10 or 1 and 200.1. Okay, change it to double, or if you are mentioning float, I'll just control Z it. You can mention F. Okay, so for mentioning a float value, you'll have to use the F word. Sorry, not the F word, just the F letter. Okay. Mayank says, can we invoke the instance method like this? System.out.println ob.add. Amish says, is there anything like typecasting in Java? Exactly, there is a thing like typecasting. Mavish says, do we have to declare X and Y also? X and Y? Okay, we are not at all using X and Y right now in our method. Mavish. Okay, they were just used in the first example that I took. You can comment it. Okay, Mayank is saying like this. Now, actually, Mayank, I tried the same thing. It is done, but it is showing me an error right now. Okay, so if I write ob dot add and I pass 20f and 20.1 2.1f. Okay, it is taking it right here. That time it was showing an error due to some reason. So Mayank, your question would have been answered now, is it? Okay, good. Now I run this code. Now this time this will be returning a float value. I run it and I received 22.1. Now I'll show you typecasting as well. So I'll change it to int, and here okay. Now this will actually convert the addition of A and B from float to int. It will be typecasting it, and here we'll receive the result. So I'll just run the code. This time I'm receiving 22. I come to method overriding. Now what is method overriding? The implementation in the subclass overrides replaces the implementation in the superclass. Okay. Now it is actually done in inheritance itself. When a class extends a superclass, now there was a method in the superclass. So whenever you want to replace the exact one, in those cases what you can do, you can actually replace it using the method overriding concept that is present in Java. Okay. So it is done by providing a method that has the same name. The name of the method remains same in overriding. Parameters are also same, as well as the return type as the method in the parent class. Okay, return type, parameter and name, each and everything has to be same. That means the signature of the method will be same in overriding. Okay, only the functionality within the method will change. Let's try to understand it. It will be much clearer right now. So you have a package name animal class. In that you have got a function that is int a and b, returning the addition as c. Okay. You have got aquatic class. Aquatic class extends the animal class. It has the similar signature, that is integer function int a and b. Sai says example in aquatic class lives in water. Okay. Let's understand this. So the signature is quite same, that is integer function int a and b, similar syntax, similar signature, but the body has been changed. First one body was that integer c equals to a plus b return c, but the second body also includes, that is system.out.println sum by superclass. So we are calling this function from this function, and the functionality, this one is returning the multiplication. Okay, that is a multiplied by b, and finally you return c. So this function is actually returning the multiplication of two integers. This one is returning the addition of two integers. So this function is overriding this function that was present in animal class. Yes, this is the spelling that is overriding. Finally, when I'll come to the main class, in main class what I did, I created an object of aquatic class, that is aquatic ob equal to new aquatic system.out.println product by derived class will be ob function 2 and 3. Now when I'll run this code, you'll understand it in much better way. I'll close it. Now I'll open the previous one, the previous example I had of inheritance. Okay. First of all, I'll comment few part. Control 7 and even this one. Saving the file. Okay. First class, that is animal. Amang says roses are red, apples are ripe. If you don't import, you have to type. Okay, that's good. That's another good one. Now public class animal. In the animal class, I write integer function int a, int b. Okay. Integer sum a plus b and it will return sum. I hope this function is quite clear. Okay. This will take parameters as two integer values and it will return the sum of those integers. You come to aquatic class. In this aquatic class, you are extending animal class. So you extend animal class. Here you are overriding the function. You see the function is same. I'll copy this signature and I just paste it over here. If it is different, it will give you an error. If it is not, it won't. Save it. It is not giving an error because both are same. So signature is same, but the functionality has been changed. It will print a statement. Now this is actually using the super keyword. So understand the use of super keyword as well. Super keyword will call the function which is present in the parent class. So by mentioning super.fun a and b, it is calling the function that is right here. Okay. So you can use super keyword to call the function that is present in the super class. It only works in the case of inheritance when you extend a particular class. Okay. So first I'm printing the sum using the super function that is present in the parent class, and in the second one I write integer c equals to a multiply by b, and I return the multiplication of these two integers. In the main class I have an object of aquatic class. Using that object I print a statement that is product by derived class, and I pass ob dot function. I'm calling the function that is present in aquatic class. Okay, 2, 3. So this function will call this one. When you come here, it will first call the super function, print the sum, and then it will return a value. That returned value will be printed with this statement. When I run this code, you'll receive sum by super class is 5. You come here, you receive the sum comes here. So sum by super class is 5 first of all, and then you come here, the return value multiplication is 6. That is product by derived class is 6. We are passing 2 and 3. All of you, are you clear with this? Please write down on the chat window, every one of you. Can we have override a function in the same class? Amir says. Okay. Copying the entire part. Okay, the functionality is different. I'll just paste it and you'll receive your answer. What do you see, Amir? You see an error. You cannot have it. Overriding means you are changing the entire functionality. Okay, that means this function has to be used instead of this. So you cannot have both these functions in the same class. That is the reason why. You'll have to make a hierarchy using which you can use it. He says okay. So all of you, are you clear with this? Then I'll show you one more thing. I'm overloading and overriding things at the same time. Rakesh says yes. Mohsin says yes. Okay, that's good. Now, I'll just uncomment this, the previous ones which I commented in the starting. I'll uncomment this one also. Now see what I've done. Now can you tell me by taking a look on this what I'm doing right here? Function, so taking two integers, one integer, return type, 3 double values, and return type is double. Sai says overload. I'm overloading the function. Omar says overloading. Amir, Mehvish says overloading. Vasil says overloading. Exactly correct. I'm overloading the functions right here. Now, we have got two overloaded functions. I come to aquatic class. This aquatic class is extending the class animal. what I am doing, I'm actually overriding both the overloaded functions. Okay, so you can do this thing as well. So I've overridden the first function, which is taking integer values and returning integer, and I've overridden the second function as well, which is taking the double values and returning the multiplication of the inputs. Okay, Arun says overloading. So guys, are you clear with this? In the main method, I'll just uncomment this part. I'm calling both the functions. I run this code, control F11, sum by superclass 5, product by derived class 6, sum by superclass 9.0, product by derived class is 24.0, because second one is taking the double values, first one is taking the integer values. So all of you, are you clear with it? I've used the combination of overloading and overriding at the same place.